First on the agenda for the public hearing will be Resolution 2016-015R, a resolution amending the library 2015-2016 budget. Julie?
Okay. At the end of the year, we always look at the funds to make sure that we have not received revenue that we did not budget for or make expenditures that were not budgeted for. So at the end of the year, that's what I did. So 2016-015R, a resolution to increase the library expenditure budget to reflect higher expenses in the patron book orders and insurance expenses. Whereas the library received additional unanticipated revenue for patron book orders, and whereas the additional orders resulted in additional expense for books that were being ordered for patrons, and whereas the cost of insurance exceeded the amount originally appropriated, and whereas these additional expenses resulted in appropriations exceeding the 2015-16 library expenditure budget by $1,785.97. Now therefore be it resolved that the library board is amending its 2015-2016 expenditure budget to increase expenditures by $1,785.97. It is further resolved that the library board approves the budget amendment and submits it to the Hot Springs Town Council for approval, and that the town clerk will adjust the budget as necessary to reflect this amendment. And this was passed by the library board at their July 13th board meeting.
Okay. Any public comment?
Randy, I'm calling for a point of clarification, please.
Yes.
All of the resolutions are about the budget. It's a done deal, right? It's a retroactive? It's already been done?
This is last year's budget.
Okay,
The
it's already been done.
money was received and spent.
Okay, all right, just trying to clarify, thank you. Thank you for yielding.
Any other public comment on the resolution? There's no other public comment on Resolution 2016-015R.
Okay. Resolution 2016.
We'll move on to Resolution 2016-016A, a resolution amending the 2015-2016 budgets for the town of Hot Springs, the Park and Rec Fund, and the Water Fund. Julie?
Okay, whereas the Park Fund purchased supplies for $1,043.43 to build a swing set, which was not appropriated in the 2015-16 budget. And whereas the Water Fund received TSEP funding for $15,000 and DNRC funding of $5,000 for a water preliminary engineering report, which was not anticipated nor budgeted. And whereas the water preliminary engineering report was completed and billed, and whereas these additional expenses were not in the originally approved 2015-2016 budget, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Hot Springs is amending its 2015-2016 budget to increase expenditures in the 2210 Park Recreation Fund by $1,043.43, and to increase in the Water Fund 5210 the revenue of TSEP funds for $15,000 and DNRC funds of $5,000, and then had expenditures the total of $20,000 for engineering in the preliminary engineering report.
Any public comment or questions on the Resolution 2016-16A?
Yes.
Janelle?
Why are the two departments combined in one resolution?
We're just amending the complete budget.
You're not combining the two?
We're not combining the money, we're just combining the resolution to amend each budget separately. It's not about money, it's just about
We received
numbers.
money and we did not have it budgeted, and we have to go through the motions.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
so one other question, just, it's, I guess, a request, and just, the Parks and Recreation Board met last night, and just, I don't know if this is appropriate, so I'll just ask this. Since we're a new board, the request is that the 1443, if I have that right, for building a swing set could be put on hold until we have a chance to map the, whatever, I don't know if that's.
They've already bought all the
It's
materials.
done, it's been spent.
It's already bought.
Oh, it's already been
Yeah.
spent.
Again, this is retroactive funding,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was-
this has happened last budget period.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just trying to get the paperwork to come into compliance with the
Yep.
spending. Okay.
Any other public comment? No other public comment? We'll move to resolution 2016-017R, approving the Preston Hot Springs Library's request to place on the ballot a mill levy for approximately 3.472 mills to raise approximately an additional $5,000 annually for the library. Julie?
Okay, resolution 2016-017R, resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Hot Springs approving the Preston Hot Springs Town County Library's request to place on the ballot a mill levy for 3.25 mills to raise approximately an additional $5,000 annually. Whereas the Preston Hot Springs Town County Library operates on tax revenue, and whereas the Preston Hot Springs Town County Library has not asked for additional tax revenue since 1995, and whereas the Preston Hot Springs Town County Library's fixed operating expenses have increased in excess of 10% since 1995, causing a need for increased revenue. And whereas the Preston Hot Springs Town County Library has the authority to ask voters to approve a mill levy that will increase tax revenue to the library, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Hot Springs hereby approves the library's request to place on the ballot a mill levy for 3.25 mills to raise approximately an additional $5,000 annually.
Okay. Any public comment on the library's request to raise the mill levy?
Has that been done?
No, this is the start of their process.
Okay, all right.
This is the first step. I believe it will have to go to the county also because it is a joint.
Yeah, it is.
And then it will have to be put on the ballot for the
Okay.
voters to look at.
I gotta get all these people up at the Timberline to become registered voters. I got 21 votes.
You go, girl.
Any other public comment on the library? No more public comment. We'll close the public hearing. Open the town council meeting. Roll call.
Smith,
Adams.
Whitsitt,
Gary.
Woods. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I make a motion we approve the minutes of previous meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes to the previous meeting. Any council discussion?
On the last page, I'm just a little bit confused. The public comment on growth policy, section 5, public facilities, there was none. Okay, so I need help with my memory because I can't remember. It seems like that was at the tail end of the meeting.
Very last thing of the
And
meeting,
and
yes.
I'm not sure if I remember that there was, that public comment was asked for right at the tail end of the meeting, and people might have just been going out the door and said, nah.
The comment at that time
There was
was that no one had, a few counselors had said, it wasn't in my packet, and I responded, it was in your packet 2 months ago, before it got tabled twice.
On the one on public facilities, the public comment on growth policy.
Yes. It's been, the public comment's been tabled a couple times because the meetings have gone so long.
And on the 2 previous ones too, I think that ever since revenue and finance, that was never really, and then the next one, which was, I don't know, natural resources or something, I don't think there was ever public comment on those because the meetings have been so full.
That's kind of how
I could be wrong,
Yeah.
I
but
think it
Catherine
was,
would
I-
be-
we decided to skip it
Just to
This
skip
is
it because it was
Catherine's.
9:30 or something. And we-
yeah,
okay.
I don't think it was even brought up. You know. I
None of them
have,
since I've been on.
Mr. Neer?
Yes, on the second page, just a little bit parking on it here, Neary Asphalt County Clearinghouse has been put into place. And
Speak up, please.
Yes, Neary asked what kind of clearinghouse had been put into place, and that kind of just sticks out there. It doesn't really make sense from Russell, so I'd just like to add to keep the public informed. And
Okay.
Hagan asked was about the letter that he mentioned last time, about keeping the public informed. It's just, you can put it in either place, it makes sense.
I'll add that.
And under old business, on the same page, it says, Neary said that since the issue at Charlotte was never resolved after all this time, why take a stand on this issue? And Neary didn't say that, and so I'd like to strike that out.
You
And
get that from it's on the video.
what is?
These may not have been your exact words, it's not in quotations.
Yeah, I think you kind of, yeah. Well, that's your opinion on it, man, and I'm telling you, I don't think that is so.
Speak up, please.
So I don't think that is so. Okay. And I like that to be struck. You can show it otherwise.
So noted.
Any other council discussion on previous minutes? There's no other council discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, could you, was that 3-1 or 2-2? Did you approve them, Bob, with changes?
With changes.
Okay, I'll change my vote.
It's 4-aye with changes.
Thank you.
Financial reports, you have two in front of you. You have end of June financial report, and then you have end of year financial report also.
You have end of year, which is June, and then the July.
So I make a motion, we accept the financial reports.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion is made and seconded. Council discussion?
Okay. We're
Which
not
one are you
really-
on?
Well, I was just gonna ask a general question. Did we receive any more revenue from our property tax base?
For June or in
Or
July?
Towards,
Yes, in July we received 15,000, and that 15,000 plus.
okay. And are we expecting more revenue?
In
I
July?
paid my
No,
taxes.
but in August.
Girl, Deanna,
Yay.
Yeah, oh yeah, the tax revenue will dwindle down greatly now until November and December.
Okay,
December, actually.
so you think we have the bulk of it right now?
We probably have the half of it, or close to.
Half of it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's,
It looks like we're still getting money from the local government review thing too. How much altogether have we taken in from that?
What happens on that, well, I'll clarify that, is that was for 1 year, that tax base. So if
1
people
year?
have, it was just for 1 year.
only.
1 year only, but what happens if someone didn't pay their taxes in that year, that money is still billed to them. So even if they don't pay those taxes till 5 years from now, we'll still get that money, will still come in.
Okay. And what was the total amount that was? Because
That was 20,000, was it 2011?
well, I think that's what I know that's what the amount was, but it seems to me that review commission spent about $3,000 or $4,000,
Well, they spent about 7 or 8, I believe, but
$7,000-8,000.
at least, yeah.
Okay.
I would have, off the top of my head, I'd have to go look and pull the report.
Okay, I just happened to pull out. I think it was in April or May, where in that particular account was like $18,000. So that would be like 26. It looks like.
No, it was not 26, but it would never generate more than $20,000 if everyone paid their taxes. It would not generate more than $20,000, period. It
Well,
can't.
When was that money shifted, where did that go, when did that go?
That went at the end of last fiscal year when the local government review finalized everything. Then it sat there waiting for perhaps more bills to come in, and at the end of the year, the fiscal year, it was then dispersed. It was transferred to the general fund.
Okay, and that didn't require a resolution or
No,
anything?
it did not. That was actually in the original ballot that was voted on. That was in the original resolution to approve local government review and put it on the ballot.
Yeah.
It was already passed by resolution, and that was,
And it said on there that any remainder would
yes,
go into
any
the general
unspent
fund?
money would go to the general fund.
And that was in the referendum thing?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and I believe it's also covered in MCA that gives the authority.
Promise changes in format on the financials.
What?
The promise changes in the format of this form.
Well, like this form was gonna change, we were gonna give you supplemental, wasn't it?
I think this form was supposed to change, or we were gonna get more information on where, where the funds were coming from and then the.
Oh,
A more itemized
balances and
fund.
stuff. Yeah,
Funds
more
committed
itemized.
today, stamped, a
Right.
percentage.
Similar to the
actual,
I
like
actually.
the library budget.
Yeah.
Because the budget is not finalized, the only thing we'd be comparing it to is last year's budget. We roll last year's budget into this year to operate. Once the budget is finalized and the final budget is passed, then we put those figures in the budget. Then we have true figures to compare it to.
Okay.
If anything I would do now would just be substituting last year's budget for it. It's only an operating procedure.
Okay.
Any other council questions on the financial report? No other council questions on the financial report? All in favor? Aye.
Right.
All opposed? Motion carried. Presentation of claims. Have a motion?
I make a motion, we accept the claims.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded to accept the claims. Council discussion?
There is a new sheet on the table, by the way.
Councilman Witsit?
There are just not much itemization, and I know that regarding cell phones, and I guess I'm mixing this up with the preliminary budget. But maybe somebody else has seen the invoices, but some of them, like,
Councilor Neary comes in early on the day of the council meeting and inspects them all. You could come also.
like no, for the cell phones, I still haven't. I'm not sure.
I did check that one.
Check it out.
Okay, all right.
There, it's just normal, so that's the same number every month. That's what it is.
Depending on the number of days, it changes by a few cents.
The backhoe on here, and that was doing a water line install in tribal housing. We're getting ready to put in some trailers. It's our responsibility to put them up to the meter pit, so we had to do that.
The Envisionware,
That's the library, it's an annual fee they pay for some kind of support.
okay.
I do have a question about Northwest Pipe Fittings, where it says water parts and meter parts.
Yeah, that was for doing the water projects that were I just talked about for the tribe. So that would have included,
That's what you're talking about?
yeah, water lines, curb stops, taps, the lines over to the curb stop, and then,
Is there an address, like, when it talks about meter pit, is that like an individual
this one actually is
Location,
in
or is that-
tribal housing.
tribal house?
And some of the parts on this one, tribal housing will reimburse. They asked us to purchase everything, then they will reimburse for some of the parts that they're responsible for.
And we had a tank one inspection.
Every 3 years, DEQ requires us to do an internal inspection of our water tanks. Since the new tank still is under warranty, it did not have to be inspected, so when I get into reports, I will show the inspection of the old tank. And that's what we do with that. It's, we share with Plains. The company gives us a huge price break if they do 2 tanks in one day. So they, the last 2 times or 3 times they've done us in Plains. From now on, we'll have 2 tanks they'll have to inspect when they come back in 3 years, so. But that's $1,590 is what they charge per inspection. I think it's normally $2,500 unless they do 2 tanks in a day.
Okay. And then the Stat Doc Consulting, the PD first responder training.
That was for the police.
That was training for the police department.
Okay.
So how much
That was,
does,
and that was here, they came and did it here in town, like it was 3 days worth. And
so
that's one with it.
how much would 1 meter pit with parts be just for one?
For one. The meter pit itself, just the pit, runs just under $800. And then when you, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you how much a saddle tap is, and curb stop, corporation stop, and then a curb stop, the piping. But normally you end up for a one water, and I believe this included some extra parts that we had used here and there through town, so that's not gonna be a true number, because some of these parts are replacing parts that the city crew had used over the last month or 2 months, and they were just replacing them when they